Karen, yes. Karen?
Karen Tumtende
From?
Nabisunsa.
Okay, Karen from Nabisunsa. Delighted to be with you today. And then we have Chomgisha Masi.
I'm Chongisha Masi from 3 Nabisunsa Girls School.
Okay. And then we have Priscilla.
Lamone Priscilla from Nabisunsa.
Okay. And then who? Martina, we've missed you. Martina's microphone is not on. And I think she'll connect later. But I'm also seeing Masi.
I'm done introducing.
Okay. So thank you. Today, the purpose here is to discuss what exactly we want to do during the 4 weeks in geography. So would like to set the agenda for that one for the coming weeks. Topics you'd want us to review, topics you'd want us to focus on as we move forward. Shall we move on to topics you have not studied in class, or shall we go back to topics that you studied already? That is the question I would like us to focus on for the next few minutes. Today, in addition to that discussion, I prepared a few things about how to respond to questions in geography, especially in human geography. So I'll be taking you through that and probably a bit of photo interpretation. But I want to hear from you first. Which are those areas where you would want us to focus during this time? Okay, we start with areas for revision and then we move to areas for moving forward. Areas for revision and areas moving ahead. We want to do this in response to what you want to study. Given that this is a private program, we want to concentrate on areas where you feel you need support, not necessarily areas where we want to, which areas we want to teach, but areas where you want you gain the most. Can we start with topics that you would want to focus on? Hello. Which topics would you want to focus on? That is the
Grid
idea.
reference and rest of Africa.
So, rest of Africa. What else? I picked rest of Africa.
Grid reference.
Grid reference in map reading.
Yes.
Okay. And feel free to use the chat room. Some people would prefer to type, so I'm just going to be sure that the chat room is activated. Some people prefer to type than to talk. So this is what I've picked. I've picked grid reference. Let me set this, which areas you want us to focus on. Reference, cross-section, photo interpretation. Rocks. We will be preparing lessons in response to your requirements. And kindly always make sure that you have questions. We can send them in earlier, which we'll be able to discuss. I picked grid reference. Teacher, there are these questions in geography that ask things like, what is the best advantage of tourism? And all the advantages they give are important, okay? So how do you do that assessment? Okay, then I'm reading someone, who could this be? Isabella. Oh. Are we recording or not recording? Yes, we are recording. Isabella. I've also seen, and it is so confusing. Okay, landform evolution. Okay. Then I've seen questions to do. Okay, some of them are direct messages. If they are direct, I'll not read the name. That's okay. So where you have sent me direct message, I'll not read the name, but I'll read the question. I've seen the question that there are questions in geography that ask things like, what is the best advantage of tourism? And all the advantages they give are important. Now, questions like those require judgment. They are the questions that test whether you really understood the content of the question or the content of the topic. So we'll be having opportunity to go through them. I'll set up a platform with the multiple choice questions and answers, so that in your time, no free time, you can invest time and go in, then pick some of the questions and try to answer them. Then we could discuss some of those. Let me see, is there another topic you'd want us to discuss? No, it seems, I'm sorry, I'm late. What are we doing? Okay, those of you who have just come in, we are discussing here the topics that we'd want to cover. I've set a question in the chat room, and the people who already logged in are talking about the topics they would like us to cover. They have already indicated topics like landform evolution, grid reference, photograph interpretation, cross-section. So those are the topics that people here would like to cover. And then someone has sent a question or a suggestion that we need to look at some of those areas, some of the topics that involve evaluation of answers, like what happens in the multiple choice questions. So that is where we are, my friends. We started by introducing ourselves quickly, and some of you may not know me. I am Untitled Kalema, and I am a teacher of geography. I think we've picked the topics, and I would like to dive in straight away today by looking at quickly how to answer questions in geography. And today I'm going to focus on only one item of answering questions in geography. And then after that, we'll hopefully have a section, a time to look at map reading, photo interpretation. I'll also introduce you briefly to content that has already been made, that is already on the e-learning platform for Nabisunsa, so that you can go in and read whenever you want. Remember, during this time, it is more or less what you do that counts, not what the teachers do. It is what you do that counts the most. Okay, thank you. Now I want to quickly move to the presentation, which I prepared about how to answer questions in geography. And I called it Concise Writing. Let me try to share my screen. Again, if you find me too fast, kindly let me know. Sometimes I am very fast. So if you find that I'm too fast, don't hesitate to let me know so that I can slow down a little bit. Again, if there is a concept you have not understood, let me know. This is the purpose of an online meeting. We are talking to real people. So I'm willing to wait a little bit for you. I'm going to share my screen. So give me a minute to do that. I've also allowed you to share your screens in case you have, as we move along, in case you have a question that you'd like to share. Because we are few, we have the freedom to do a lot of things here. Being few has its advantages as well. And one of the advantages is you have the freedom to do what you really want to do. Okay. So there we are, concise writing in geography. Again, a check. If you are not able to hear me, you let me know. It would be useless for me to teach when you can't hear me. So today I want us to talk briefly about concise writing and specifically describing geographical phenomena and describing the importance of features. Why is this important? Why must we begin talking about describing geographical phenomena, writing concisely? Why? If it's okay with you, kindly unmute and then tell me, why do you think it's important that we should be talking about concise writing in geography, in your opinion? Why is it important? Why should we spend hours here talking about concise writing?
So first of all, what is concise writing?
Exactly. What is concise writing? To write concisely is to write
Pardon
in
on
a
the
way.
question.
Her question, what is concise writing? What do we mean by being concise? Being concise means being clear, being to the point, being descriptive enough, being writing in a way that is cute, that will earn marks, that is understandable, that avoids irrelevancies, that hits the point right away. That is being concise. So why is it important for geographers to write in a concise way, in a clear way, in an understandable way? Why is it important?
So that those who are not familiar with the terms or what they're talking about can be able to understand clearly.
Pardon me?
So that
I beg your
those
pardon?
who are not familiar with the, so that those who are not familiar with the terms or the concept that they're trying to discuss can be able to understand clearly.
Okay. So that those who are not familiar with the terms can clearly understand you. I pick that one. Another, why must geographers care about how they write? Now, someone in terms of geography could also argue that it is important for geographers because you look smart, you appear intelligent when you write concisely. Someone could say that. But another one could argue that it is at the core of grades. When you cannot be understood, you may have a lot of geography in your head, but honestly speaking, the examiner does not care. The examiner wants to see what is written on the paper. Does it make sense? So many times we have students who are very bright, who know geography, lots of geography, but they get mediocre grades. And the problem is they don't write properly. They don't describe their answers properly. They either write too much and therefore spend a lot of time filling the paper without real answers, or they write too little and cannot score the marks. The knowledge stays in their heads. So it's important for a geographer to know how to write in a very precise manner so that he or she is clearly understandable and can score the marks. That is extremely important. Thirdly, it is for communication. Education is not only about grades. It's not only about results. It's also about developing your ability to communicate effectively. So this session helps you to learn how to communicate effectively in any environment, because you begin to pay attention to what really counts in an effective written communication. So those are 3 reasons that I could come up with, of course, in addition to yours. So what do we look at here? Number 1, how to explain the contribution of a sector. There are questions that have been so frequent in almost all geography papers, whether it is field work or photo interpretation or map work or the rest of Africa or Switzerland or Rhinelands, all geography papers, you'll certainly find a question that requires you to explain the contribution of a sector. Describe how the forestry sector has contributed to the development of an area. That could be one question. Another, explain the role of tourism in the development of Switzerland. Describe the role of transport in the development of Uganda. Those are questions requiring you to explain the contribution of a sector. And today I would want us to take some time to look at that. Second, describing factors favoring an activity. Again, very common in photograph interpretation, in map reading, in all geographical aspects. We normally ask you, describe the factors favoring a particular activity. The activity could be tourism, industry, trade, fishing, a lot. Again, you have to be able to explain or to describe the factors. That we shall do another day. Then describe the problems faced by people living in an area or by an activity. Very important and very common. How do you describe the problems faced by people in an area? And then describing the effect of an activity on the environment. Those are things that I would want us to talk about at some point. But today, being that it is the first lesson, and I didn't know whether you're interested in this anyway, I said I'll look at only one element of that. So, in concise writing, when you're describing, you could describe land. And here I'm just going to run through quickly. It's not the main gist of our discussion. You could describe a factor like land. Say there's extensive land, vast land, abundant land, inadequate land, etc., etc. If we say, describe the factors favoring tea growing in the area, someone would say land. But a better geographer could describe, could give an adjective, a descriptor, something that describes the factor, and that could be used. And in many other areas, when it comes, for example, soil, you might say, describe soils. Many of you did the prairies, Canadian prairies, and the growing of wheat, and you said presence of fertile soils. You did the cotton belt in southern USA, then you said dark soils. You'll be studying tea growing, and you'll say acidic soils, presence of acidic soils. Soils could also be described as deep or shallow. You'll be doing rubber growing in Liberia, and one of the factors you'll be looking at is soil, and it will be well-drained soils. You'll be looking at clove growing on the coast, along the coast of East Africa, where there are cloves, and you'll be saying sandy soils, the presence of sandy soils. So we describe soil in geography. We describe the factors, And I have a full list of this, but this is just a sample. Again, if you think this is something that we would want to look at more deeply, let me know, so that another lesson, we have a session to describe geographical phenomenon. But for today, this is my focus. My focus today is on describing the importance or contribution or role of an activity. That is my role, my main thing today. And the key things that I'll be looking at, what are the key takeaways? Number one, when you're asked to describe the importance, the contribution, the role of an activity, the first thing we do is to identify the point. Identify the point. What is the point? There is a formula that many of you use. I think you call it Fred, Tri-team, Fred. F, foreign exchange. F, food. R, revenue. You know that one? And then 2, you indicate or describe the contribution of the role. Describe the contribution of the role. Now I'm going to stop sharing at this time and see if you have specific questions that you'd want to answer. So I'm pausing for now. At this time, are there any questions? The chat room is open. You have a question, toss it, because I'm going to go deeper after this. I'm going to give examples after this. I pause. Any question at this time? Whitney, are you coping?
Can the description below if you've not been
Karen, I'm not able to pick you. Could you repeat the question, Karen? Karen?
relative in the area?
Pardon? Karen, I'm not able to get you. Could you type your question or comment? I think your connection is not the best at this time. I suspect it is not my connection. I suspect this time it is yours. Okay. The reason for pausing is to see.
Which questions can they?
Okay, which questions can they bring? Great. So let me go to the questions that they can bring at this time. So which kind of questions can they bring? Your question has come in at the right time. So which questions can they bring that help that point to describe? Okay. So it is as if you knew what I was going to cover next. Question taken from the Great Lakes region. That is North America. This is human geography, focusing on industries. You did industries in British Columbia, in the prairies, in the South, in New England, in the Great Lakes region. You'll be doing industries in South Africa, in Nigeria, everywhere you'll be doing industries. One area they could ask you is about the contribution or the role played by the sector. Sample question. Describe the contribution of industries to the development of the Great Lakes region. I pause a bit. Describe the contribution of industries to the development of the Great Lakes region. Describe the contribution of industries to the development of the Great Lakes region. Okay, let me get some feedback from you. Don't worry about how you describe. Just tell me, do you have ideas? How have industries led to the development of the Great Lakes region?
They haven't played.
So number one, they have employed people. That is one.
Transport and communication.
Number
Transport
two.
and communication network.
Okay, and feel free to use the chat room as well. I am in the chat room as well, but transport and communication network. Transport and communication. Another. These are beautiful points. Employed people, one. Transport and communication, two. That is very good. Another.
Development of towns along the roads.
Development of towns along the lake. That's a great point. I have seen in the chat room, foreign exchange. Point number 4, foreign exchange. Point number 5, I've seen source of government revenue. Government revenue. Number 6, improved taxes. I'm seeing beautiful points. You guys are great, yeah. You give these points. Points. Okay. Let me just put a slide here so that I capture the points given. Foreign exchange, improved government expenditure. You've told me foreign exchange. Okay. These are great points. Development of infrastructure, you have given it. It is here. Someone has given development of infrastructure. Let me put it in our slides. Development of infrastructure. Development of infrastructure. And so on and so forth. Let me share the screen quickly so that I can now go back to the points. You guys are raising beautiful points. Okay. So did you say development of infrastructure, the employed people? You told me employed people. You said it has also led to transport and communication. Transport and communication. Okay. Beautiful points you have given. Now, when that question was given, first of all, I need to say these points are valid. They are correct. That is the first thing I need to tell you. These are correct. If I were marking, if it's an exam, how would I score them? That's where I want us to go. So when that question was given, this one, describe the contribution of industries to the development of the Great Lakes region. You have all seen that you have the knowledge, you have the points, you have them. In fact, you could say, it's a waste of time today. We already know these things. Look at what this girl wrote when it was given. I don't know whether girl or boy. She wrote, many industries have been built around the Great Lakes region due to its location, leading to industrialization. That for me was like her introduction. So I've put number 0 as the starting point. It is her starting point. Then she says, the industries in the Great Lakes region have provided employment to the people around to satisfy their needs. Is that a correct point? This girl has said the industries in the Great Lakes region have provided employment. She has identified it. Great. Number 2, the industries in the Great Lakes region have led to the development of infrastructure. Since many roads and water transport vessels have been built, leading to easy transport and communication. Infrastructure, since many roads have been built. We shall analyze. Number 3, the industries in the Great Lakes region have led to diversification since government has used its revenue to employ security workers for protection. Number 4, the industries in the Great Lakes region have led to urbanization since many people have come to get accommodation around these places. Number 5, the industries in the Great Lakes region have led to foreign exchange since goods are exported to other countries like USA. What is the verdict? My verdict is this candidate begins with a short, clear introduction which focuses the reader to the issue at hand. We shall talk about the introduction more. So there is a statement at the beginning. She doesn't just list the points. You have seen, industries have been built around the Great Lakes region. So I know when I am marking that this question is to do with industries around the Great Lakes region. I know. Many people make a mistake. They simply write C and then they go to the point without a stem. She says, and I'm pointing out, the presentation is clear, neat, and organized. Look at it. She has no fluff. She gives her points straight. Industries have led to development of infrastructure. The point is clear. And then she tries to follow it up with an explanation. But does she score? Does she score a mark? That is the question. Number 3, there is consistent writing structure. The candidate begins with a point followed by an explanation. Look at it. She says, the industries have led to this, have led to this. Now, for me, if I am marking, the moment I have detected her structure, I begin looking for her point. Now, some students write differently. In one point, they start with the contribution and then the explanation. In another, they start with the explanation and end with a point, which stresses whoever is reading the work. Consistency is important. So those are strong points that I picked from this work. Are there areas that should have been improved? Number 1, there is repetition, which could be done away with. She says, and I want you to look at this work. Every point, industries in the Great Lakes region have provided. Industries in the Great Lakes region have industries in the Great Lakes region. Every point. Could this candidate have done it differently? Could she or he have written the point? Industries have led to this, the first one, for the second one. And the third, she only strikes the point. Improvement, industrial development. Then, 2, some claims could better be supported by way of explanation. So at this time, we are going to go to our game. The game, I'm going to call it Spot the Error. We are going to go point by point. Where is the challenge? Point by point, and what could have been done to improve. The first one, I am the one who starts it. I normally do the easy things. For you, will do the hard one. When she was writing the stem, she said, industries have been built around the Great Lakes region due to its location, leading to industrialization. Please read that statement again. Industries have been built around the Great Lakes region. It is true. It is focusing us on the Great Lakes. Due to its location, do we need to know? Leading to its industrialization. The question was, and look at the question. The question, describe the contribution of industries to the development of the Great Lakes region. So the candidate now writes, industries have been built around the Great Lakes region due to its location. I think there is kind of a mismatch. I think it would have been better if the candidate had written, industries have been built around the Great Lakes region and would have left out due to its location, leading to industrialization. Fine, I have no problem with that. Which has contributed to the development of the area in the following ways. Now it's an introduction. Now it's an introduction. Now that seems like an introduction, because it has summarized the question and is pointing us to the answer. That kind of writing will have saved her from the repetition of industries have led to this in the Great Lakes region. Industries have led to this in the Great Lakes region. I want to pause at this time and see if any of you has a question or a comment at this time. Question or comment? I'm stopping sharing briefly. Question or comment?
Teacher, is it a must to write the introduction?
Is it a must to write the introduction? No. Is it a good practice to write an introduction? Yes. It is extremely important. In fact, in geography, we don't give marks for introductions. We will, except for the senior ones. For the senior one, we judge the essay structure, but it gives a very, very good impression of you and helps you to dodge that repetition that you saw in her answer. If you clearly state a short introduction, it is 2 lines and that's it. So it, like hers, just adding 1 or 2 lines would have been a very good thing. So yes, my friend, it would be a very good thing to have an introduction. A stem, in fact, I call it a stem statement, not necessarily an introduction. Any other comment? Okay. There being no other comments, I proceed. Some people say if people are not making comments, it is one of 2 things. Either you have been too clear or you have been too confused. So which one is the correct thing?
You have been clear.
Okay. Thank you. I thought it was confusion. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. She says, next point. So her very first point, she says, the industries in the Great Lakes region. Now let me go to it. The industries in the Great Lakes region have provided employment to the people around to satisfy their needs. Nice things about it. She has given us employment, right? So she has given us the point. It is clearly identified to the people around, given. For what? To satisfy their needs. So if I were marking, would I give her a mark? So I have said 1, the point has been identified. Yes. Moreover, Ali, this girl or this boy has struck the point on the head clearly and early. She has not started by saying industries in the Great Lakes region. Those industries have many people in them. Those people come there, they work. There are so many people. In fact, it provides employment. She has hit it to the head. But, and then she says, to the people around to satisfy their needs. Then I say, the claim is not supported, neither is it explained as required. When they get employed, which needs, how do they satisfy their needs when they get employed? Which need do they satisfy? And then she says, industries in the Great Lakes region have provided employment to the people around to satisfy their needs. Which people have gained employment? So it might be a good idea to indicate the categories of workers. That could be an easy way. You could indicate the areas they come from to support your answer. So, most importantly, the claim is vague. Employment to satisfy their needs. So this point, this point looks like one that would get a mark, but the examiner would give it grudgingly, saying, oh, the point is there. The point has been identified and has given how it helps people. So some examiners will say, this is okay. As some people say that you give. But could it have been done better? Because you guys are the sharpest brains that Uganda has. Could you, if it was you, could it have been done better? I think so. I think so. Supposing this particular person had said, industries in the Great Lakes region have provided employment to the people around, such as, imagine if the person had even mentioned that, such as clerks, drivers, who earn an income. We get income from employment. So instead of saying who satisfy their needs, suppose the person had showed how the employment helps the people. So who earn an income through salaries and wages. When they earn income, what happens? To improve their standard of living. Beautiful point. So what have we improved? Oh, I'm going to kindly mute. Some people who are using mobile devices sometimes fail to mute because the mobile devices open themselves, they unmute themselves. Okay, so let me just go back to this. So we are saying this person could have given an example of people, could have indicated how employment helps the people and how it leads to improved standard of living. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in geography, when we are teaching, we will give you like 14 points for importance or for the role. And the examiner might want something like 5 or 7 points. Now that you know that, don't rush to write. Because some people, when they are given papers, they just write. Please don't rush. Take your time to write clearly in a crisp manner that is concise and to the point. Your answer should have the point identified, like here is saying employment, and then how it helps the people earn a living and improve standard of living. There, we will say that the point has been well struck. Now I want to respond to this one. This one is saying, teacher, isn't there repetition with industries and industrialization? Yes, you are referring to the introduction here. I think you are referring to this introduction here. When you said industries have been built around leading to industrialization. Yeah, I think there is a repetition. I agree with you. There is a repetition, which could be done away with. That's a great observation. Another comment, is it okay for you to just write the point and explain? Like how? Could you, let me see, was this, this is
Teacher,
Kansime.
without stating like industries around or rather Great Lakes region, if you just say provision of employment to people like clerks, switching, like that. That's
fine. I think that is very fine. That is why, now, the way you state, that is why when you when you have the stem, the rest of the points now flow. Provision of employment to clerks, etc. Foreign exchange and foreign exchange. You see, industry, without industries in the Great Lakes region, because you gave it as a stem, it is okay. It is okay. Okay. Let me look at another one here. Is there another question in the chat room? No, no other question in the chat room. Let's go to the next point. Okay. So we go to point number 2. Point number 2, industries in the Great Lakes region have led to the development of infrastructure. Since many roads and water transport vessels have been built, leading to easy transport and communication. Ayabas. Let's look at this statement. Industries in the Great Lakes region have led to the development of infrastructure. That is correct. I agree. So I say, have industries led to the development of infrastructure? Yes. So is there a point? Yes. In fact, the result of infrastructure here has been stated. Says, since many roads have been constructed, which have been built, leading to, so you have infrastructure, and then what it leads to, says, leading to, but then says, leading to easy transport and communication. Then I say, what are you talking about? Development of infrastructure like roads, leading to easy transport and communication. Point, leading to easy transport and communication is hanging. Industries in the Great Lakes region have led to the development of infrastructure. Correct. Since many roads and water vessels have been built. Correct. Leading to easy transport and communication of what? You see how we lose the points. So how could we have stated it better? Do you want to hit the chat room and propose an answer? Or do you want to say it out? Is there a better way? Could it have been done differently? Okay. I've seen a comment in the chat room. Let me see. Is there? I think should have said leading to transportation of goods from industries to the markets. She says. And now he's saying maybe she could have said industries leading to easy transportation of goods from industries to the markets. That's a good submission. I am only saying we can modify this as well, because we are saying what is the contribution of industries? We are saying it has led to development of infrastructure. Why does it lead to development of infrastructure? Because they need to transport goods and passengers to markets. That's why. How is this important to the sector, to Great Lakes region? That is where the issue now is. How is it important? How is this important to the Great Lakes region? So it is the industrial sector. How is the industrial sector contributing to the development of the area. There is infrastructure. The infrastructure grew because they wanted to transport goods to the market and industries. But this infrastructure is now used by people to transport, to move, but also to move their other goods. That's how we are seeing. We are saying it has led to the development of infrastructure like roads, correct? How are those helping in other ways, not necessarily on the industry? How is it helping in other ways? So we could have written it like that, I think. Industries in the Great Lakes region have led to the development of infrastructure, such as, for example, many roads and waterways, which were built. I'm just modifying her answer. I am not stating mine. I'm only modifying hers so that you see how it develops. Leading to easy transport of goods and passengers. You see, the infrastructure grew from industries, and then that infrastructure, which is roads, railways, and water vessels, are being used to transport goods and passengers. That's what we mean. Identify the point and then show its role. That is what we mean. So the industries led to development of infrastructure like roads. Why? Because roads were needed to transport raw materials and finished products to the market. That one is a fact. So you could even add that one because but then we are looking for what is the importance of that communication, that transport. Then we say it was used to transport goods and passengers. So to summarize, we are saying you state the point and then you show its contribution. Industries led to development of infrastructure like roads and railways, or like water vessels, like he says. And then how was that important? That was used to transport goods and passengers. That's a complete statement. Could we have a student that would even state which roads and vessels were constructed? Yes. Brilliant students from Nabisunsa could even indicate some of the waterways, some of the railways, rail lines, no problem. But the gist is the link. Okay, let's look at the next point. I go back and then we look at the next one. Next point. Point number 3, industries have led, again, let me type it out. Number 3, industries in the Great Lakes region have led. I hope now you are realizing the irritation resulting from the repetition. Industries have led. The first time you don't realize it's okay, but then with time it begins to irritate. So industries have led to diversification. Since government has used its revenue to employ security workers for protection. Now, we analyze of the economy. Maybe that's what she meant. Okay, I've seen a comment here. Please repeat how you would like the point repeated. Thank you. I'm going to repeat that one by covering this particular. So I'm only saying, did it come in later? Let me pause a bit so that I can look you direct in the eyes. How do we want the point stated? The point must have 2 parts. Number 1, it should have the point itself, like the contribution of industry, like you said, employment, foreign exchange, infrastructure. That point should be stated, should be there. Number two, you show us how that has helped. If you say development of infrastructure, like roads, that is okay. How has that helped? How is that important? Why is it important? You said industries have led to development of infrastructure like roads. Fact, yes. But how is that important to us? That's what we mean. If you said it has employed people, yes, it's a fact, people are employed. How is that important? Because we said contribution to the development of the area. Role in development. Importance of the industry. How is that important? So show how that helps. That's what we mean. So thank you, Isabella, for that question. So let me go back to this particular answer. Industries in the Great Lakes region have led, so we have said, did she mean diversification of the economy? I think so. She could have skipped diversification. Sometimes when you're writing, you rush, you skip a few things. It happens. So the lesson from here is that read through your answer. No one is perfect. So what does diversification mean? When you say has led to diversification, what does it mean? It means getting alternatives. Uganda might be dependent on coffee export for its foreign exchange. If it gets an alternative, such as fish, then we say the economy is being diversified. Diverse, many. Diversification of the economy, it means the economy has many ways of surviving, many ways of moving forward, not dependent on one. So that's what we mean when you say diversification of the economy, that the economy is not dependent on only one source of income. That is diversification. Now, how do industries lead to diversification of the economy? I think this is the confusion from here. It says, which has led to diversification of the economy since government has used its revenue to employ security workers. So okay, security workers are out of the question, but how does it lead to development of the economy? So I'm seeing that this response had a challenge. What is diversification? How are they connected? How is government revenue connected? And how are security workers connected? So this is a point that looks beautiful on the surface, but on deeper analysis, it's full of what? Contradictions. And it is a point that is commonly confused. So if you have alternative points, my friends, and you do, give those alternative ones before you give diversification, because that one means you need to tell the examiner that it provided an alternative source of income to what was previously existing. How could it have been done better? Industries in the Great Lakes region have led to diversification of the economy, added the economy by providing alternative sources of revenue to the government, which it uses to develop other sectors. Now, the point of alternative sources is what makes it diversified. If you have good information about the Great Lakes region, tell us what are the main sources of revenue? What were they dependent on before? Remember, it was mining and agriculture. Then industries came up. So in addition to mining and agriculture, they now have income from industries. So what is the problem with you saying that the Great Lakes region used to depend on mining and agriculture, but industrial development diversified the economy by providing an alternative source of income and activity, which developed other sectors. So we are stressing that the point of diversification can easily lead you astray because it is not often understood. So we are saying the Great Lakes region depended on mining and agriculture. Now, when the industries came in, they became alternative sources. And you could explain it that way by saying that this area, which was dependent on agriculture, did this. Or you say reducing diversification of economy, which reduced over-dependence on agriculture and mining. Industries provided an alternative source of income, an alternative activity, which reduced over-dependence on mining and agriculture. Now we know it diversified the economy. Tuli bulungi?
Yes, teacher.
Okay.
Yes, teacher.
So let us dissect another one quickly. The next one, I'm using a case study of an answer. So point number 4, and I'll do only 2 and then we quit. Number 4, industries in the Great Lakes. Number 4, industries in the Great Lakes region have led to urbanization, since many people have come to get accommodation around these places. Okay, same story. Granted, industries have led to urbanization, not denying. I think I agree and you agree. Then you say, is urbanization all about accommodation? She says, industries have led to accommodation, to urbanization, since many people have come to get accommodation. Not very convincing. Why? Because urban centers grow around industrial centers. Because many people come to the industrial centers to work. Those people earn a living, which supports the development of urban centers, either by providing a market for goods, by getting accommodation, by supporting trade, and many other activities. So for her answer, I would have loved to see that connection, not only limited to accommodation. I would have loved to see her linking industrial centers to employment or to work, and people moving to the industrial area to look for work. They get income, they support development of towns by providing a market. They even settle, like she said. So this answer is very close to the best one. Finally, industries in the Great Lakes region have led to foreign exchange, since many goods are exported to other countries. Again, it is valid. Industries led to foreign exchange. However, where I have a problem, she says, have led to foreign exchange earnings, since many goods are exported to other countries. So what? What is the role of the foreign exchange? That is the problem. If you say industries have led to foreign exchange, since many goods are employed, that is correct. But what is the importance of foreign exchange? We use foreign exchange to support international trade. We use it to import necessary goods and services, which we don't have. So this candidate could have identified that. So has led to foreign exchange through export of goods, better through export of industrial goods to countries like the USA, which is used in international trade, or which is used to import goods such as medicines, etc., etc. If she had done that, I would have been a very happy dude. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it about identifying factors. I want to show you some of the content that is already available in the e-learning platform for Nabisunsa that you could refer to. Number one, the notes that we are given, the electronic data that are printed out are also available in the e-learning platform. So you can always log in and read through. And as we speak now, we are developing them into interactive books so that they have the materials, other materials that you'd want to read. I'm going to share with you one of them quickly. I hope it is this one. Okay, I'm hoping. Okay, yeah. So this is Senior 3. Let me just toss this. So this is the Senior 3 course. Let me go. Many of you know how to log in. I've just gone to Geography, Senior 3. And then I want to show you a few things which are already there. I am not loading for some reason, but let's see why it is not loading. Oh, I wasn't signed in. So I got Senior 3. When you go into the Senior 3 area, in the e-learning platform of Nabisunsa, you already have your username and password. Go to Senior 3. You'll see the recorded lessons. They are there. The lessons we have taught are there previously. You can go through them. Number 2, we have East Africa books. So the books are here for Human Geography of East Africa and Physical Geography of East Africa. So the notes are there. Then if I go to North America, again, the notes are there. Let me go to Rhinelands. So if you go to Rhinelands, you'll see a book. The Rhinelands book is right here. And then if you navigate, it has all the notes for Rhinelands. So those of you who lost your notes from Senior 1, don't worry, log in. So you just click on the section. If I click on urbanization in Germany, for example, it will open and then the notes are here. So you no longer have to panic. Now, let me look at one that I've just recently developed. I've developed one for Switzerland. So I'm going to show you, and feel free to, you guys have, those of you who have some data, feel free. Go to Switzerland, for example. The advantage with this is that the information is readily available and it has instructions. So you go to Switzerland, it's a book. Let me enlarge it. It has videos already embedded. So if you go, for example, physical regions of Switzerland, it has an activity, it has the pictures. This is following the notes you have, but enriched. So if I go to industry, which I've just been teaching today, talking about the contribution of tourism sector, there, we go to industry. So we navigate agriculture, industry. Okay, industry is here. The map is there, and then you can navigate through. Factors are there, like that. So what I've been giving you, it is here. You can go in and then work through. I'll be showing you a few more things as we move along, but at this time, I want to stop it at this time and then see if you have any questions before we close. We have only 3 minutes to the end. Okay, mine is up. Now over to you. Questions, comments. I've seen the topics you want us to look at. I'll prepare those next time. Any comments? I am a patient person. So I can wait for 3 minutes in case you have no question. Pardon? Hello? Okay, for the e-learning platform, I said you log in and then go to the Senior 3 Geography section. As long as, if you're from Nabisunsa, you have access to the e-learning platform. If you're not from Nabisunsa, I'll talk to the organizers of this program so that I can create a copy of that material for geography on a different section where you can access the material. Nabisunsa platform has an open section and then a closed section. In the open section, we don't put student names. There is only content. In the closed section, that is where the students' names are. So if we have people here who are not from Nabisunsa, I'll be adding you to the open section. I'll be putting content in the open section, which you can read. Again, thank you very much. My name is Untitled Kalema. I'm a teacher of geography, and I'll be taking you through some of the units as we move along. My phone number, 772-592-826. I think I put it on the, I think I put it here. Did I not? So I think I did. I think I did put.
First repeat the number.
So I've beamed my number. It is 772-592826. That's WhatsApp. Then the Wolokoso is 701-69-2724. WhatsApp 772-592826. It is on the screen as we speak right now. Let us continue engaging in the section where you guys chat in the S3 group. If you have additional questions, please push them. We'll be able to continue supporting you along the way. Again, thank you very much for investing time in yourselves and for wanting to learn and continuing to learn. Keep safe, stay home, read your books, and have some fun. You are very young people. Enjoy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, teacher.
Bye-bye. Make sure you have some fun at home.
Yes.
Okay.